Hi, Michael Yardney for our weekly Rich Habits, Poor Habits podcast. I'm sitting here in Australia and welcome on the other side of the world in New York, Tom Corley.
It's good to see you again, Michael. It's good to be back on.
Well, we've developed a great international audience watching these weekly videos. And today, Tom, I'd like to dig into the findings of your study. Many of our viewers will already know that for 5 years, 2004 to 2009, you studied rich people, some people who'd become self-made millionaires, you studied poor people. And again, this is not a judgment of people or a value judgment, but just a fact of where they were financially in their life. And lately in the media, there's a lot of fuss again about rich and poor and the 1% and whose fault it is. So, Tom, in your homework, in your studies, what was your conclusion? Is being rich or poor a choice? Do you have a say? Do I have a say? Or is it just a matter of what's happening in the world and I may as well just go along with it?
Well, it's definitely not cast in stone, Michael. So if you're, in fact, 177 of the individuals, the rich people in my study, they came, 41% of them came from poverty. So obviously it's not cast in stone. Just because you were raised in a poor household, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You can become wealthy. I mean, you look at some of the billionaires out there and their stories are incredible. So if one person can do it, Michael, maybe you could chalk it up to random luck. But if you've got 5, 10, thousands and millions, in fact, who rise above their poverty and become wealthy, then it's not cast in stone, and there's some truth to the fact that, you know, perhaps you're poor because, well, you just accept it.
Or you've got poor habits. Look, in Australia, there's the BRW Rich 200 list. In America, you've got the Forbes list, and I follow them and I have for years. I'm not on those just yet, Tom, but I do know that people who get onto those lists come from a variety of backgrounds. You get people in their 80s and you get entrepreneurs in their 30s. You get people who finished school. You've got people who finished college and some who haven't even finished high school. You've got migrants who are still learning English as their second language. Sure, some people were born into wealth, but clearly there's the opportunity for people to get out of poverty. Has it got to do with the way they think, Tom?
Yeah, so there's really two schools of thought going on here. I mean, when you peel the onion and you get down to the core, what I found was that poor people have what I call a victim mindset. I'm not responsible for the circumstances of my life. And so because they feel that way, they look to government, they look to the politicians to help level the playing field. And what are the politicians and what are the individuals who have power over us do? Well, they try and attack the people, the successful people in the world. And, you know, that's the other shoe that you have to look at on this. The wealthy people they have a mindset where they believe that they're personally and individually responsible for their circumstances in life. They don't believe that you need to rely on anybody but yourself and maybe the team that you create to help you become successful. So there's a victim mindset and there's a self-reliant mindset that separates the rich from the poor. And actually, Michael, we do have a wealth gap, but it's actually a belief system gap. Poor people are poor because they believe that they're victims, and wealthy people, self-made wealthy people, are wealthy because they believe they're not victims. They're in charge of their lives.
That's interesting because psychologists suggest the more you feel you're in charge of life, or as many aspects of your life as possible, the more comfortable, the more satisfied you are, the less stressed you are. So when I learned to feel that I'm the pilot of my life, not a passenger, Tom, I started making decisions very, very differently. And so when I now believe that I'm the cause for all the effects in my life, because there is a relationship between things happening, the way you think, the way you feel, your habits, and the outside results. When I realized I was responsible for that, I started acting differently. And even if it wasn't true, because I behaved differently, my results were different, Tom.
Yeah, and another thing, Michael, too, it's better for your health. So what I've got so much research on this, and I've written about it often. There was this one particular study where the researchers were looking at chimpanzees, and they found that the chimpanzees at the lower scale, the lower pecking scale, that were submissive to the number one chimpanzee. Those chimpanzees oftentimes had heart disease, high cholesterol. They had all sorts of diseases. So when they felt like they had no control over their life because some chimpanzee was, or you can call it a boss or whoever, that was in charge and directing their behavior, forcing them to do X when they wanted to do Y, they actually suffered from a health standpoint, and they were unhappy. Now, you don't know that chimpanzees are unhappy, but my point is that we are unhappy. There's studies that I have in my book, my study book, that when individuals feel like they are not in charge of their circumstances, not in control of their circumstances in life, they're absolutely miserable. In fact, there's the two things that create unhappiness are not meeting your expectations in life and not feeling as if you're in control of your life. So this idea, this victim mindset, is not only unhealthy, those people are miserable and unhappy.
Well, the easy way to turn around it is suddenly recognizing that you are in control, that you are responsible for your circumstances. I remember, Tom, one of my early mentors, Jim Rowan, who got me on the path of personal development, suggested that it won't change until I change, that you can change because you're not a tree, and if for it to change the world, the finances, your happiness, your relationships, that won't change until you internally change. And that takes time and education. That takes self-improvement. But the answer is there's so many resources out there, including your blog, my blog, our books together, things like that, that today I think it's probably easier than at any time for people to now get control of their lives.
Oh, I think with the internet, my gosh, I think the problem is there's so much information now. People don't know where to go. So that's why what we're doing, Michael, is we're sifting through, and we're the filter in a sense. We provide content that is based on years of experience and years of research. We've already done all the hard work, you and I. We've filtered out all the nonsense, all the noise. So I think that's important. You have to go, if you're looking to be successful, you have to really focus your attention on a couple of things. Videos like this, podcasts. You have to find something that you can go to on a regular basis and just listen to or watch, because there's too much information out there.
That's right. So you've got to choose the right mentors. And Tom, I think you've also got to associate with the right people, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this how many times, Michael. It's so important. This is one of the things that I love about my research, is something I really didn't understand, and that is wealthy people avoid these toxic relationships and surround themselves with rich relationships. They open up their inner circle only to certain specific people. They're loyal only to certain specific people. There's this idea of loyalty as an important success trait, but I found that it's wealthy people aren't loyal to the people that they perceive to be toxic. In fact, the loyalty will only make them stick to their shoe. So this is important. Wealthy people, successful people, they only want certain people around them.
So in summary, Tom, I think we both agree to the question, is being rich or poor a choice? The answer is yes, it is. You can be responsible for your circumstances, or you can believe that you're not and the world isn't, that you're a victim. So if you want to get ahead in life, success in any aspect of your life, you've got to be the pilot, not a passenger allowing others to carry you along. Tom, thank you very much. I really enjoyed having this chat with you today. Look forward to catching up with you next week again.
Same here, Michael. I look forward to it.